And we'll start off with consideration of the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Next up, then we have the consideration of the approval of the minutes from the March 17th and March 26th meetings. Any questions on those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments on the minutes? Clerk will call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Next up, then we have consideration of the approval of the consent calendar. Any questions on the consent calendar tonight?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions, or comments? Call the roll.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Business of the mayor, we just have one item tonight. We want to appoint Chris Tunn to the Historic Preservation Commission. Carol Fry has served at least one term, if not two, on the commission and has opted to not do another term. So Mark contacted Chris and Chris has been interested in joining, and I kind of know Chris and she's a real history person. So I think she'll be a good addition to that committee. So look for approval to appoint Chris Tunn to replace Carol on the Historic Preservation Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments?
I would just thank Carol for her time on this committee.
And Chris for being willing to step up and participate.
I was just gonna say the Historic Preservation had trivia at the brewery on last Thursday, so we should have been there recruiting. So,
Looks like it was a full house in the picture in the paper.
yeah, I didn't make it. Looks like it was a good turnout. Future board members.
There you go. Should have had a sign-in sheet.
That's right.
Right.
Yes, I didn't either. For trivia.
Any further comments? First, we'll call the roll.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Art, you want to come on up? Looks like you've got the next three items here. First off, we'll start with the consideration of a street closing request for the farmer's market. So, you want to fill us in, Mark?
Yep, farmers market we do each summer. This is the same as it's been for the last however many number of years. We're asking to close off Blunt Street adjacent to Central Park for that one block. Farmers market Wednesdays from 3:30 to 6 and Saturdays from 9 AM to noon. We close the street an hour and a half beforehand. And we open it up, I mean, at noon when it closes, they're gone by 12:05. So it's we'll get it reopened. Farmers market starts the first Saturday in May and runs every Wednesday and Saturday until mid-October.
So what did you say the times were on the days, Mark?
Wednesdays are 3:30 to 6. And Saturdays 9 AM to noon. And we held a preseason vendors meeting and they finalized everything and looking forward to getting some new ones this year, and we've got a number of different activities that'll be going on. We're looking forward to a good market season.
Not to throw a monkey wrench in it, but on this form that's in front of me, it says Wednesdays from 2:30 to 6:30.
The street will be closed.
I had the same thing, that's why I asked him, but that's the street closing, that's not the times of the market. Because
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
We need to close it an hour before so the vendors can get into place. That and keep cars from parking in the market stalls.
Question on, I'll ask it once, since we're gonna look at several of these. The notification process, I know we're discussing changing that, but how is the notification process being done for these? Because we haven't finalized.
This one I called, the only ones that impacted are our office and Head Start and North Iowa Community Action, and I called them and spoke to them directly. Plus, we keep their driveway open the whole time, so, at Blunt Street there by their office, we only cone off half of it and leave that open so you can get into their driveway and out.
really like how this has evolved over the last several years. I think you've done a great job with it. I see a lot more diversity than what we've had in years past, so that's always exciting to see new vendors coming in, offering different type of, the main staple is vegetables. You gotta get there early to get the best one, but what I'd like to see is the different variety that we're seeing too, outside of that, so thank you for.
We added eggs last year. I got a feeling that'll be in high demand this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to Diana and Wiley Childs. They are volunteer market managers, so they are there every day in the market and sign people in, and they keep us from having to staff it every single day, so it makes a huge difference.
I'm glad to see the farmer's market is coming back, you know, like you said, it's running the same as it always has, so. People know what to expect. I would have moved to approve the farmer's market request.
Move to approve.
That's okay.
Any other comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
All right, next up, Mark, street closing for Parting Park.
Again, we're following the same formula for street closings we have in past years, which would be the two side streets on Central Park and North Jackson Street. We keep Main Street open. Notification wise, we notify all the businesses and residents that are on those three sides. Most of them are businesses. We do have residents in two of the homes, they will receive letters. The businesses we email, if we don't talk to them directly.
Questions on this one?
Move to approve.
I,
We have a second.
second, yeah.
Other comments, Phoebe?
Well, no, maybe, I just maybe clicked on the wrong thing.
Those things are kind of mixed
Are they
up.
mixed up?
Yeah,
Okay.
the first one is,
they
the
came together in the same PM.
first
Okay.
one is July 4th, the second one is,
I hadn't just scrolled down far
no,
enough
that's
to,
fine. And then you go back to the 4th of July again.
yeah.
Yeah, believe me, I
Okay.
was in the same boat.
I was looking at that one going, wait, that's. pretty in the-
And
This is
making
good.
you work for it and making you work for it.
So she sent them all together rather than, I'll talk to her about that.
4 dates this year.
Okay, perfect. Should have just scrolled a
No,
little further.
I did the same thing. It's got there.
All right, so we're talking about Parting the Park right now.
Yeah,
May 30th, June 13th, June 27th, and August 1st.
Correct. And I put in my request to the big guy upstairs not to have any rainouts this year. So
I was gonna tell you that, to make sure you put that in early.
I was gonna hold you responsible, but you're running off, so.
See, there you go, that sounds good, I'll take that one, Mark, go ahead.
Have a motion to second.
We sure do, sir.
Call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley, Friesman,
Next up, then we have the street closings and the parade permit request for the 4th of July events.
I'm very happy to say it's going back to pretty much its original,
yay.
not the way we had to do it last year. Again, kudos to everybody who worked with us. We made it work. It wasn't ideal, but we will be going back to lining up on 13th Avenue. Closing that off, to Cleveland. And then they'll be lining up on both sides of that. They will not, because of the road change, they will be going onto North Grand and then making that turn onto North Main. We utilize 11th there by the depot for the farm implement machinery, so they got a straight shot and try to keep them as limiting the curves as much as possible. Also makes it easier for the rest of the parade entries to work around. Parade,
If they line up, how are they gonna kind of straight shot down now?
11, no, it's not straight, but 11 will go into where the curve is there in North Main. It's as straight as it gets.
Yes.
And it works that we don't have the farm implements mixed up with the other parade entries and the horses. It just makes it a lot easier. It's easier for them to get in and out. The other change is we will be cutting over, we'll go down North Main, cut over on Clark Street. instead of Riverside because of the change to the parking lot in Meeting House. There's no way we can avoid cars there, so. We will come from Clark to North Jackson, take North Jackson up and finish it.
Yeah, contact of the people on this route.
We have the whole list. She's got the postcards ready to go. She was gonna wait to see what you guys decided, but we're just gonna go ahead and send the postcards to the residential addresses and the landlords. And then the businesses, we will contact either directly or by email, back up making the postcards. So we're trying to limit the postage as much as possible because it's pricey. We did switch from letters to postcards to save 20 cents a piece, but yeah, we're ready to go on that. And the other thing, last time we talked, I checked with 4 or 5 other chambers and how they did it. And only one of them actually sends out letters. So we will also make sure we publicize it on Facebook as well as in the media.
Right. Yeah, I saw that, your report on the different chambers you contact. That was interesting to read. So.
Yeah, I gave that to Hugh and he said we'll talk.
Questions?
I would move to approve so that
Second.
July.
Any other comments? We'll call roll.
Star,
Aye.
Longley.
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Mark.
So I only have one more for you in the coming weeks and that'll be Firecracker 5.
Oh, sure.
We want to make sure that we finalize that route first. Thank you much.
Board stuff, as well as the parade.
I guess I just sort them all one, street closing and parade.
Yeah, 'cause it.
I mean, that's what it is on the agenda, but
Okay,
Mhm.
because this is talking about Kelly and Blunt Streets and. parking.
yeah, I mean, I guess I just assumed they were all one event, so I took the parade and the July 4th.
I just, because there's 3 different applications here, so that's what I was looking at.
Kelly and Blunt will remain closed throughout both days. Again, just because we'll have vendors in place and we don't want traffic going through there and get it confusing. So we can open up North Jackson as soon as the events are done the night of the 4th and then close it again on the 5th. So that's not closed all the time, but the Blunt and Kelly, on either side of the park will be closed both days.
I guess I didn't hear what the exact motion was, so Phoebe made the motion, but did your motion to do both
The
events?
July events.
Very good, we're good then.
Thank you.
All right, next up then we have another public hearing. This is on the proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement. So we'll open that hearing and we have an affidavit of publication.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we received any written comments?
I haven't, Steve, have you?
I have not.
Any oral comments tonight? Close,
So I'm gonna,
Second.
we'll call the roll.
Longley.
Aye.
Friesman,
aye,
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Then we will consider resolution 2525, which is taking additional action to enter into the general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement and providing for the levy to pay such. Steve?
Yes, so this is in regard to our short-term borrowing that we're looking to do for several different items. That'll be included within the fiscal year 26 budget. Most of these items are public service items, fire truck repair, equipment, guns, things of that nature. Tornado siren, outdoor siren, I should say, repair, and then some dollars for nuisance abatement. So all those type of things, we package those together typically annually. It varies a little bit what is and what isn't included in that, but this year totals about $188,000. The vast majority of that, about 70,000, is towards fire engine and tanker repair and or replacement. So that's a bigger chunk of that. Another piece is equipment, bunker gear for the fire department. So what this does is this approves the short-term borrowing so we can include this within our fiscal year 26 budget that we'll be looking to approve here in a couple weeks.
Question, Mr. Steve?
So in the actual resolution, it lists sufficient to produce the net annual sum of 195,000.
Yes, and that is a bond attorney process. They always include some buffer there, and we're approving, it doesn't matter what type of loan that we're doing. So we'll look to borrow 188. That's what we have in our budget, but it is set for 195 just for to make them feel better, I think.
So I presume in case something comes out of left field, something,
I think that's the idea. Yep.
which I appreciate that. Cause that can get you in trouble real fast if you don't have enough authority approved. I would so.
Second.
Any other questions?
A lot of good discussion during the budget session, with this and all the other areas, so appreciate it.
As I said, I know I sound like a broken record, but I think we've done this every year that I've been on the council, and it's always served us well and it works well, and so.
All right, clerk will call roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Plumley.
Aye.
Right, moving on, then we have a motion to consider to approve our insurance package renewal. John, you wanna come up in case anybody has any questions for you? Steve, you wanna start a discussion here?
Yeah, so this is our annual insurance renewal with EMC and First Main Street Insurance. I work with John Greaves and Joe Vens to help redo this policy, and I know it wasn't at the last workshop when you talked about this, but we met with these guys on, via Zoom about a week or two before that and looked at the renewal, and it's a good renewal year when the rate can go down. That doesn't happen very often. And part of that was, the discussion of, switching that property deductible from 25,000 to 50,000. But across the board, yeah, I mean, we saw an uptick in our work comp mod. That was something that really kind of stuck out. We went from a 0.77 to a 1.26, which is a healthy jump. And we had a couple of worker comp claims. So that certainly came into play. Thankfully, that impact was offset by other reductions. So that's what's been kind of nice about this process as well. So I just commend John and Joe and their team for helping us through all these things to keep us on the track for making sure we got everything covered and appropriate amounts. And I guess I will mention too, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but that cybersecurity, we bumped from 1 million to 2 million. That's reflected in here as well. So
Part of the reason was too losing public housing, them leaving the city. I think that's shaved off some too from our freedom.
you bet.
Yeah, I think he said we had a pretty good explanation when Joe and John were here last time. So Joe, John, do you have anything else?
I don't, so, obviously the workshop was beneficial for us and hopefully Mayor Andrews and the council as well, so, yeah, great year. Mod has increased a little bit, reduction with the fire department, that helped out quite considerably. But yeah, we're just looking for approval to move forward with the $50,000 deductible.
Thanks. Any questions for John?
No, we spent a lot of time talking about this. I think it was right at 45 minutes or so during the workshop. And, this past weekend, starting Thursday, to me, it just solidifies we need to do this. From the unpredictable weather, what we're going to be forced with at the end of the day, can we get a cost savings too at the same time? Still like this move. Yeah, new term is generational flooding.
Okay.
All right.
I would move to approve the insurance package renewal.
Second.
Gen Z, or which generation do we blame this flooding on?
Oh, man.
Any other comments or questions?
So I guess I'll just mention the package we're renewing is it's a total package of $495,188.
No other comments, clerk will call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
aye,
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks,
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 John.
John.
Good to work
Thank
with
you.
you again.
absolutely, thank you.
Next up, then we have resolution 2625, and this is to set the date for the public hearing for the fiscal year 26 budget. That date will be
21st.
April 21st.
April 21st. Questions?
Appreciate, like I said before, city staff put a lot of time and effort into this, and I always appreciate the line by line revenue and expenditure walkthrough at every level within the budget. And so it helps me to better understand the city business, because I don't work in it day to day, but as always, I appreciate the hours you guys have put into this. And also I appreciate the good discussion by my peers as we kind of walk through this. And it was exciting to see the capital improvement plan. Then we had the goal setting, and then we went right into the budget. So it was all kind of new, and for a new employee, you know, that for me, I like seeing that. I'm used to seeing the planning, the execution, and putting all the numbers together to make it happen. Elaine made a good comment the last time we did the capital improvement plan. It's as good as when it's done, because a day later, something could happen that could change it. So that's always stuck with me too. So I appreciate the good work through of the budget for this year.
And to that end, I'm working on finalizing that capital improvement plan, just with the changes we made on we're actually budgeting this year. And then how that's gonna play forward going forward. So I'll have that out to you prior to our meeting on the 21st there, so you can have that in here to review. But generally speaking, so right now, this budget, this is for the full budget for April 21st, and this is where we talk about the full levy rate. We're looking at $15.95,122. It's basically the same rate as last year. It's 1.4 cents lower than the current year we're in. Our valuations came up, right? The rollback came up a tick. So we're actually collecting about $91,600 more in revenue across the board for the city. So that equates to about a 2.1% increase. Inflation's been much higher than that, right? And so we're looking at reductions at different areas and levels all the time, and ways of trying to improve and get better. So I feel pretty good about this budget. So I guess, those are some of the specifics around it.
I guess on the agenda documentation, it's shown the rate at 15.95112. That's what our worksheet says. And then it says last year's was 16.96573. So I think that's off by $1.
That is off by $1. Yeah.
And just now when you were reading, you said 122 for us. So just make sure there's no misunderstanding what the numbers are. And that being said, spent a lot of time on it. I move to approve.
Second.
This is just setting the hearing, so. Any other comments? Call the roll.
Star,
aye,
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
So we will have that public hearing on the 21st. Next up, we have resolution 2725. This is for pay request number 2. For the City Hall Police Department renovation project. John?
Yes, what's on the agenda tonight is pay request number 2 for Kingland Construction for the City Hall renovation project. The total requested amount is, just under 63,000, it's $62,886.98. This is a little bit less than, the first pay request was at 92,000, so with, pay request 1, pay request 2, we're right at a little over 155,000 that, we'll have paid to, Kingland Construction. Mainly the work so far that was done the last month is, demolition on the interior, as well as, they've started on some of the, mechanical and electrical work. So, the pay request was, reviewed and they're by Bergman and Cram, and they're recommending the council approve this, and we are as well recommending approval of resolution 27-25, approving pay request number 2.
Questions?
With, everything going out on and outside of us, dealing with materials such as steel and aluminum. Are we locked in? We shouldn't come back and have a change request a month or 2 from now saying, you know, this stuff's locked in for the price that's quoted, for materials quoted here, right?
Right, I mean, we have a contract for a set amount.
Okay.
How are they doing time-wise, John? As far as schedule,
I think it's fine.
are they on schedule, behind schedule, ahead of schedule?
I think they're on.
On schedule, okay.
Interesting, I thought they might be ahead of schedule even a little bit.
Yeah, so according to their timeline, I mean, they have until April 30th of 2026, and based on the timeline that they last provided it at completion by March 31st of 2026, so according to the timeline, but there's a lot of time between now and then.
It gives them some cushion.
Gives
Yeah.
them some cushion, that's right.
We did have a little. Few of us had a little tour the other day and Trudy took pictures of her old office, which isn't an office anymore.
The windows are still as drafty though.
You know, the wood is no more better than the glass was.
Might be better with that plywood though.
Might be better, absolutely.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments?
I appreciated the tour, enlightening. That building 60 some years old, so the amount of asbestos, the structural soundness of the piers there, the outside there, you can see. It was interesting to have the foreman let us know about that, but some of the deterioration points along those lines, so it was very good to see that. And hope we get another one here. Probably, when are we looking at another tour sometime? Summertime, maybe?
Down the road.
Down the road,
Yeah.
you gotta get the rest of the council members to show up, or maybe two.
Not mentioning any names, Stevie, but.
Yeah, so we'll probably hopefully hear something soon for the others, but yeah, I would, once we get to a milestone, we can actually see something that's maybe worth seeing.
Appreciate that.
I mentioned on the radio this morning, I think he told us the other day, the next work will kind of start the next phase will kind of start some of that outside work when they get some of those. Or the steel in to kind of make that extension over the sidewalk, so. Other comments? Call the roll.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star.
aye,
All right, next up then we have resolution 2825, and this is have planning and zoning review a vacation of a property which is located on 13th Avenue. And then make a recommendation back to the council. John, you wanna fill us in on this one?
Yes, I included an aerial view in the packet. What it is, it appears to be part of a 13th Avenue former right of way. If 13th Avenue extended due east, that's where this would be. So it's about 300 feet east of E Street and it's south of the CPKC railroad tracks. And so it's, you know, the development that's going on there, they're requesting that, the city look at this and vacate this to, clear up any potential title issues later. And so the way the process works, it is right away. And so what the council has to do, you first have to direct the Planning and Zoning Commission to review this, to study this, vacation request and, come up, make a recommendation back to the council. So that's, and this, the vacation goes through the, ordinance process. So you have a public hearing and, 3 readings. So it is a process. But first, what you have to do is, pass a resolution directing PMZ this, to take a look at this and, study it. So we are recommending approval of resolution 28-25, directing PMZ to, look at the vacation request.
Questions or motion?
I would so move.
Second.
Any other comments?
So it's just amazing to me how many of these things just show up after how many years the city's been in existence.
That was,
All stuff.
GIS mapping helps.
Right.
Because you see, what is that?
Yeah.
Why is that there?
and before it was just more dirt. Now you can actually map it.
Yeah.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Lumley.
All right, then next up, we have a, consider our first reading of ordinance 1190. And this is amending the Charles City UDO to, extend the time and the expiration for termination of conditional use permits and variances. John, you will fill us in on that one.
Yes, and we talked a little bit about this at last week's planning session. And so, once again, on smaller projects, what it is right now, we have 90 days between the Board of Adjustment action and the applicant getting a building permit. So you have 90 days between those 2 events. And on smaller projects, this is not an issue. It's very rarely it ever comes up. I haven't seen it actually come up before. One of those reasons is on smaller projects, really the way it works is somebody gets a building permit, they apply for a building permit, and then it goes through the review process. They've already submitted everything. It goes through the review process. And that's when potential conflicts with zoning or setbacks, variance needs, that's when that gets flagged. So they're already in that process of getting the building permit. What it is with larger projects, a developer will, he'll be working with a consultant, even with a planning consultant. And they look at sites, making sure that the site is viable, it works for, has the sewer capacity, the water capacity, as well as any type of zoning needs. And that gets flagged right away. And then they come to the city and say, well, we need a conditional use permit, we need variances before they even start the planning process or for construction documents in order to apply for a building permit. So anyway, so we took this to the Planning and Zoning Commission last week so that they could take a look at it. We did offer them, we did provide them with both 1-year extension or a 2-year, not extension, but a 1-year time before the conditional uses expires, or 2 years. And the Planning and Zoning Commission, they did, they're recommending to the council to approve a 2-year time period. And so that's what ordinance 1190 is written, is to provide for 2 years. So it'd be going from 90 days to 2 years. And so that's our, we'd first recommend the council approve the first reading.
Questions for John?
At the workshop, we talked some about leaving it at the 90 days and setting something up just kind of for the larger projects as far as like an extension process. For those deals, was that ever considered or was that not presented to P and Z as an
No.
option?
No, that was not during our discussion, I actually thought it was more, 1 year. Rather than breaking it apart based on the size of the project.
And I know at a staff level too, we reviewed maybe a dozen or so other county and city ordinances to compare what their timeline was, and I didn't see anything shorter than a year. And we saw up to 5 for some counties.
I will say at the planning and zoning meeting the other night, they talked about that specifically, and even one of them mentioned that, is it California or somewhere, up to 9 years for some of their board of adjustment permits, so. I mean, the discussion revolved around being 2 years being a very, what they felt, I guess was a logical timeline, and just some of the experience we've had recently, that seems to be a very usable timeline. I don't want our discussion about, well, we do this for small projects, this for big projects. That just gets kind of messy in my mind a little bit because, well, my project's a big project, well, my project's a small project. How do you delineate those two? So I'd like to pick a timeline that would fit all of them. And like John said, typically those ones that you get a building permit, you need a variance for what have you, it's something that's already in play, whereas something else, these bigger projects, they take years to put together sometimes. So, you want to be able to have that box check that's done and say, okay, we've gone through and done a dozen things. Oh, by the way, we need to start the zoning process back over to get a new variance that will sit well with a lot of developers, I think. So I know I feel 2 years is probably a good range for that.
So then if I'm reading this right, if their 2 years expire and they still haven't gotten a building permit, they can apply for a 180-day extension?
Correct.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
They could apply to the Board of Adjustment for an extension.
Or just 6 months?
Correct. Otherwise, essentially, if it terminates, they have to start the process over and reapply.
Who makes that determination, Brett?
For an extension, the Board of Adjustment would have a meeting and the board would vote on that, whether to grant that request or not.
So that provides another level of review.
I think this was one we discussed a lot, and if planning and zoning is confident that 2 years is where we need to be to make it more workable than it currently is, then I'm comfortable with that. So I would move to approve the first reading of ordinance 1190.
Sorry.
Any other comments? We'll call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
We will then have the first reading of ordinance 1190.
Ordinance number 1190, an ordinance amending the Charles City Unified Development Ordinance to extend the time for expiration and termination of conditional use permits and variances.
Thank you. Then we need a resolution, which would be number 2925, to set a public hearing for ordinance 1190.
This would be setting the public hearing for the next council meeting, April 21st, 6 p.m.
So
That would also be the second reading to that same night.
We would first hold the public hearing, yes, and then we'd have a second meeting that night.
Motion, so that's second.
Second.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Right. Next, we have resolution 3025, and this is approving an employment agreement between the city of Charles City and Brittany Lentz. Brittany's here tonight, so any discussion there? Steve, you wanna jump
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, so I'm happy to,
You can come up if you'd like. Yeah, Brittany.
Join the party.
So yeah, after an welcome, Brittany.
Thank you.
After an extensive interview process, we ultimately made an offer to Brittany, which she accepted. And so we have a contract on for tonight for your consideration. It includes it would go into effect April 28th, which would be her first day, that Monday. For a salary of $78,000 and 4 weeks of vacation annually. For the initial, we review those every July, but between the clerk and myself. So for these first couple months, we'll have a prorated amount of vacation in there. So that's 6 days of vacation, a personal day. And then we put in there that, so rather than doing a review after 2 months, we do a review after 6 months. So that'd be somewhere over in November, we do her initial 6-month review and then just get her on cycle for that following July. Yeah, the only thing I guess that's, we did tweak and update the agreement a little bit today, which I shared with Brittany. We have a, requirement for a background check and pre-employment physical. So that's actually part of 7B that's in the contract that's not on there, that basically says that she would do that. And so we talked about that. So that's the version we'll have her sign. It's not the version that's currently in her packet, because that's something we just tweaked today, but we're excited to get Brittany on board and hit the ground running.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
And I mentioned too, that maybe since she's not starting until after Trudy retires, Trudy has agreed to be John and come back a couple times.
Oh, man, I did offer to work with her after hours in the next couple weeks or on the weekend. If she wants to come in on the weekend, so I did offer that. So hopefully she takes me up on that.
Yep, for sure. We're gonna talk tonight, so.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Any other questions, comments?
No, congratulations.
Thank you.
I just like to say well done to the city staff. We had a lot of great candidates, very in-depth process we went through for 2 nights. A lot of long hours afterwards, a lot of good discussion, but I was very pleased of how in-depth we were on the whole process and moving through that. So being my first one, it was right where I thought it should be. So I appreciate the staff on this, but congratulations to you. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Clerk will call the roll.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
You mentioned that, Patrick. I remember hiring somebody else
Yeah.
several years ago.
Yeah,
Well, maybe you can
And
get it
they're
right this
leaving
time.
before I am.
yeah, and no kidding, Delane. I think I was in that group
Yeah, you
also.
were too.
I don't remember that being in my contract anywhere that I had.
You have to stay longer than the current council.
Better watch out, Brittany, they might add that to yours.
Did you notice that my comment was on the insurance, we spent almost 50 minutes just discussing one item. So
Yes,
we're pretty in depth on our
that's good. I
planning
mean,
sessions.
it was a great experience, so thank you. It's been a long, quite a few years since I've interviewed, so it's good.
You did
Thank-
well.
Thank
did
you very
well,
much.
very well.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
Brittany.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Take off, right?
No, I'm gonna stay.
All right, cool.
Stick around.
Have we received any miscellaneous correspondence?
Do we need to do a vote on that? I don't think we voted, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I forgot to mark it down.
There were 4 names.
Can't wait till you get here, Brittany.
Coasting to the finish line.
I
You're right.
kicked my butt out. The door hit me in the butt on the way out, right? Oh my gosh.
All right, that being said, do we have any miscellaneous correspondence?
None, Your Honor.
Brad, anything else to report tonight?
No, Your Honor.
Judy, you always got something for us?
I do. Next meeting is going to be April 16th at 5:30 PM, so note that change.
So that's a question because Park and Rec has a 5 o'clock meeting here that
Yeah.
night. I'm assuming it's here.
It's here too.
Yeah,
They'll
I think
never
so.
be done.
No, they won't be done by 5:30. That's why I bring that up.
Why is the push at 5:30 for us?
Yeah, that's a good
Why don't we
question.
have?
Well, I
six?
think that was for Lent, right? Don't we do that all through Lent?
No, just those 2 times.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was all through
We're only
Lent.
making special things for a couple of times, just the rest of the time we go back to normal.
So we can go back to
Thank
six,
you for,
six.
thank you for thinking of me, but yeah, I didn't need it that week, because there's no, it's,
Oh, is it Holy Week? I
Yeah.
suppose is that why?
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
so 6 o'clock, yeah,
6 o'clock on the
Okay.
16th.
very good.
And
Sounds
since
good.
it's my last clerk's report, I do have, so I want to read. Here goes. I want to thank you all for the past almost 18 years of working together. To make Charles City such a great place. Oh my God. I especially want to thank Jerry Yeager, Elaine Frasier, and Mayor Andrews, who were all members of the city council who hired me. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Charles City and to help the city become known across the entire state as a progressive and happening city. It has always been a proud moment when I tell people that I work for the city of Charles City to have them say, sure, we know about Charles City. They're doing great things there. I couldn't have done my job without my exceptional coworkers, mayor and city council. We have made a great team and I will miss seeing them every day. And I think they're gonna miss me too, because who will they scare now? Watch out, Brittany. That's all I have to say. Watch out.
Does Brittany get new shades?
My retirement plans include spending as much time as possible with my grandkids and doing some traveling. And I'm very happy to announce that in October, I will have another grandchild to spoil, so I
Congratulations.
cannot wait. So thank you all again from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't have survived without you, and I will continue cheering you on from the sidelines. I know there are more great things to come. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Rudy.
you. Thank you for all your time.
Yeah.
Don't you have a retirement party coming up sometime?
I
too?
Yeah.
do on Friday. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so much fun. So from 4 to 6 at the pub. So hopefully you guys can all make it. And Brittany, hopefully you can pop in too. That would be great. So
Just so you know, she was doing the same thing when she walked through the demolition.
Yeah.
You know, teary-eyed in there too.
that's so much. Isn't it?
Hey, better that way than the other one.
Thank you guys for everything. It's just been an awesome ride. So.
Good, good. We've appreciated everything you've done. City administrator report, you gonna follow that?
I'll make it quick. Pool is opening Memorial Day. They're on target, so that's looking good. Talked about City Hall update, got that done. Housing conference for NIACOG, that's April 24th. If you're bored, I'm a speaker, so if you wanna come over and hear about some of the things we're doing in housing, I'm on that panel from 3 to 4. Citywide garage, cleanup is going April 19th to April 26th. That Wednesday between on the 23rd is when we're gonna go around and do our pickup for those in need, and so. Delane and the Lions and Chris Garden and the Rotary and myself. Be going around helping do that, get that done, so.
People need to call City Hall. if
They
want
need to
that.
contact City Hall and let us know if they can't get things out to the dump, and we'll get them signed up and on them, so. Other than that, Trudy, it's been a pleasure working with you the last 11 years, really enjoyed it. So thank you for everything and best of luck. That's all for me.
Anybody with any board or commission or committee reports?
No, I was gonna mention historic preservation's trivia night last week and
Oh.
that's not, no, it's good, it's
Sorry.
good. I had another meeting that ran long. I couldn't even make it, but it sounds like it went really well.
Whenever we have pie, I'll send you an email. Just don't tell Brittany that we can do pie.
And Brittany, if she starts talking about going to the annual Iowa League conference, you just kind of walk away and get away as quick as you can.
I've already told her I think about the red wagon. She was great.
No further reports. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
Favor say aye.
I.
Aye.
Hi.
Adjourn. Thank you all.